Yo, what's going on YouTube? Tay here. So I'm actually doing a PvE video today. Basically, until they fix the bug where there's off chances when you die and respawn, that you slow walk and basically your gun shoots slower. Until they fix that bug, I'm not touching PvP. So I thought today I would do a PvE build for you guys. I've been telling a couple content creators about Kepris and why it's actually really good now. Obviously, if I can make the video first, even though I told people, that'd be fire, get some views, get some content, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to really quickly go over the build. So it involves Kepri Sting. The new change to it is basically defeating a weakened target releases a burst of weakening smoke and refunds smoke bomb energy. Basically, we're always going to have our smokes up, and we're always going to be weakening pretty much everything. This is very good because when we're weakening things, we can do a shit ton more damage. So basically, the route of this build I went here is on the helmet. We're basically just in a special ammo finder, heavy ammo finder, basically just the defaults that I always run. I mean, having more ammo is better. And then a harmonic siphon just to generate an orb. And then on the melee thing, we're just running grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a part of melee attack, running 2 focus strikes, and then a heavy-handed because our smokes do actually kill targets. Excuse me. And then on here, we're running 2 kinetic ammo generations, and then a charged up. This is basically to increase our void surge timer for more damage, and then 2 kinetic ammo generations so we can get more weather horde. Another thing as well is, so if you go over to our boots, we're going to have reduces melee cooldown each time picking war power. Honestly, you can change this to reduce class ability. That would probably be better. You don't need to worry about ever increasing the regeneration of your melee. A lot of modifiers that we can pick are going to have brawler on them. Even without brawler, I tried this without brawler, you do actually get your smokes back insanely fast, especially if you throw them in a group of enemies and weaken all of them. On top of that, what I noticed as well is even though it says, obviously, okay, cool, you get your smoke bomb back when you defeat weakened targets, that's not just from your smoke bomb that you throw. It could be from your grenade, so if you're running undermining. It could be from if you have withering gaze on your weapon, but you're pretty much not going to use that because you want to have these 2 perks on here. We'll get into that in a minute. And then we obviously just have, why do I have Void Scavenger on here? Because running a different weapon at the time. Just run kinetics, just kinetic scavenger, whatever you feel. I'm going to run that so I can get more Wither Horde ammo. And then our Void Weapon Surge. And last but not least, we're going to have Reaper, Distribution, and then Bomber. Bomber's just on there because obviously we can't run 2 distribution mods because we have Reaper. And it's just to give us a little bit of grenade energy back. We don't need it on the melee, as you'll see in the gameplay. Okay, now we're going to get into the weapons. So obviously Wither Horde, for one. There's a main reason for that, and we'll get to the gameplay loop in a second, and then I'll show you guys what we're playing. And one of the most important things you want to get is a Void Weapon with Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds. This is so basically we take advantage of every single buff and debuff we can possibly apply for Void. We'll always have an Overshield, and Destabilizing Rounds will grant us volatile rounds. And last but not least, for a heavy, I'm using a Hezen's Vengeance. It has Overflow and Bipod. With the gameplay loop, pretty much we'll get into that now, is basically whenever you're fighting a boss, just shoot a Wither Horde at it, and then spend the rest of the time ad clearing. And then when you're done killing enough ads and you can actually just load him with 4 rockets, pause, you'll have like 4 or 5 rockets, depending for the most part. Obviously we can throw on, enhanced weapon. Okay, but if you have that, just throw on enhanced aerodynamics or whatever you feel like putting on. But yeah, so we'll get into the subclass really quickly. So basically, I'm just running Deadfall, pretty much just a base thing for the most part. It also applies Weaken as well. So does this one, but this one lasts longer. And then we're obviously Snare Bomb, the only thing. And then we're running Magnetic Grenades. This might seem kind of dumb, but Magnetic Grenades are basically for the more tankier enemies. The first explosion is going to weaken them from this effect right here, but also weaken anything that's around the big enemy you stick them to. And then the second explosion, because of the weaken, is basically either going to kill them or make them one-shot. So it's a very good grenade, especially with the weakening effects. Then we're running, one of the more important things is on the Prowl. This is because when we go invisible and we defeat a priority target, it creates a weakening cloud of smoke that makes you and an allies invisible when passing through it, obviously, as well. So this is another lingering smoke that also weakens targets, on top of the fact that when defeating a weakened target releases a burst of weakening smoke, on top of the fact that we also have, just in general, throw a smoke bomb that attaches to the surface and weakens nearby targets. So we have we basically have 3 forms of weakening smokes on top of a weakening grenade. Obviously, our vanishing step is just to make ourselves invisible. And then we have defeating a weakened target creates an orb of power and a void breach. This is literally every single time. You'll see in the gameplay I'm making a shit ton of void breaches, a shit ton of orbs, and that's also defeat into starvation. Picking up a void breach or orb of power grants devour. So basically we're going to have devour, we're going to have an overshield, we're going to have invisibility, we're going to have volatile rounds, and we're just going to be weakening everything. So we're taking advantage of every single possible buff and debuff you can have on void. Next thing here, void buffs upon you, invisibility, overshield, and devour have increased duration. So obviously your invisibility lasts longer, overshield lasts longer, and devour lasts longer. And then obviously your void grenade weakens targets. And the final thing, I just have this on here for shits and giggles. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapon. This is also just to give me the increased melee stat. So yeah, the gameplay loop, you'll see it there. I'll get into it when we load in. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you guys like to build, feel free to let me know. I'm going to be loading into a solo activity, just one of these. I'm not high enough light yet to do any harder activities and stuff like that. So for anyone who's higher light level and can do harder activities, if you want to try the build and then comment in the comment section, you'd be, hey, this was good, or hey, this sucks in high-end content, just feel free to let me know. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Invisible, look for the target right here. This is just going to pretty much start a constant chain of we're invisible at all times. Pretty much just the gameplay. We're just going to be basically playing ads continuously. Basically, whenever there's a boss, you just over at him. Just keep on. That melee is actually going to kill. So here we constantly have whenever we need to, we literally just whenever we want to smoke focus on the target. I mean, there's never really a situation where you actually run out of smokes. For the most part, much better than smokes. Even if you don't have it on, I could probably do like a shirt base. Obviously, this is something really easy. Obviously, for anyone that is higher level, they finish it, bro. Rockets full, I've already loaded in there. I thought they should would have more enemies. That's what I was using. It's just like it was the real power of it. That way you got the juice in the beginning. This way. Pretty much the entire game. You got the gist of it though.